Hello and welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. We've only got a few people left in here to speak to before we head outside and find out what exactly has happened to the city, because we still don't know. In here it's actually relatively calm, but I imagine out there the demons will have been making themselves known. Anyway, let's head up this way. Also, loot. Loot? Ooh, a book. Well, we'll read that in a second or two. Hello, Sela. Sela smiles at you warmly. Hey there! During that march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange a proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. How are we going to go for this here? Iribeth said your friend Jana Aldori is missing. Do you know where we should look for her? Iribeth is worried about her fighters. I understand that. I wanted to look for Jana myself, so I didn't distract you. But since you're in this too, I could use some help. Jana and I met in Kenabris a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together, we went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Sela frowns. Jana's a good fighter, even if she is green. She couldn't have become an Aldori otherwise. I hope that means she's alright. So Aldorian must be like a name just given to the type of fighter. So her name is Jana, but because she became an Aldori fighter, then she got the name Jana Aldori. I guess that makes sense. Okay. What do you think about what do you think of what's going on in Kenabris? It's complete chaos. Yeah, it's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Sela smiles brightly, then gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem a bit blasé. Many good people, and our protector, Terendelev, died here in Kenabris. A paladin of Iomade is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile, and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon no use against you. It can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultists from the city. I kinda like that thought. It's going... We can worry about the problems and mourn once everything's sorted, but until everything gets sorted, we've got work to do. Okay, that makes sense. So let's see what we want to say. If we want to win, we can't be mourning our deceased day and night. Plus, joy heals the soul. I kind of like the chaotic answer there to start with. There's wisdom in the traditions of mourning, but one shouldn't reject them. All the more if inappropriate merriment could offend others. All the more so if inappropriate merriment could offend other mourners. Many people's loved ones perished in Kenabris. I'm not bothered by how you talk, what matters is how you fight. I like the chaotic answer here. It's nice when you and your commander think alike. Sela smiles softly. Okay. Is fighting demons all you want, or are you looking for something more? How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads? Or at least a dozen, if they're lively ones. Sela's eyes shine cheerfully. Anyway, to be more serious, the area around the Worldwound is the best place for a paladin who wishes to defend the weak and serve good. Being part of the crusade is reward enough for me, but there's something that worries me. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and other orders are focused on just one aim, the war against the Worldwound. That's why they can sometimes overlook the smaller things. Ordinary misfortunes, you know? I always liked being a wandering knight because any moment I could get up and go help poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, or an old woman whose favourite dog had gone missing. So here's my answer. I don't have some big important goal, but I'll be happy to help those who need it. A little bit here and there. So this one kind of harkens back to Lan's one, where he was telling us the stories of the Crusaders who, you know, didn't really care about people's situations, and were mostly just focused on following the rule of law and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, he was going a bit nihilistic with it. But Sela's saying she's not like them. She's positioning herself differently. She's saying she would go and help a poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, you know? Instead of imprisoning somebody due to their circumstances that forced them to steal, she would instead be like, oh, I can help you. I think that's just it's a nice parallel. Anyway, I'd like to know more about you. Of course, ask anything and I'll answer honestly. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? A little bit from Geb, a little bit from Katapesh, but mostly from the Knights of Iomade. I was accepted and began my training at 14. I belong to the ranks more than I belong to any other place. I wonder how old she is, because looking at this, I'm thinking like mid-20s, but I don't know, maybe she's older. And just, you know, the fact that she seems to be quite positive would also make me think that she's probably younger, but who knows. You've come to Mendev by a long road, haven't you? A very long one. Sela looks at you cheerfully. A traveller is expected to have amusing stories. Unfortunately, I only have 3 tales of any interest, and I'd like to save them for our next feast. Otherwise, I won't have anything to show for myself when it's time to start bragging, and that just won't do, especially since I'll win the night with my cautionary tale of a battle with, Chukabras? Chukabras? Okay. We passed our knowledge arcana check. Chupacabras? Fascinating. Can't they drink their victim's blood during combat and gain strength from it? Oh yes. Sela's face grows serious. And they do it very quickly. They bite one victim, suck out their blood, then strike their next victim quick as lightning. But now you've tricked me and I've started telling the tale. I may as well do it properly. Picture a small town in Quadira. Down in the dungeons, there's 2 murderers waiting to be executed. So where is this place? The westernmost satrapy of the Padishah Empire of Kalesh. Would that be Quadira? Is a kingdom with the power of the sprawling empire at its back. Quadira is Kalesh's doorway to the inner sea region, and is perhaps the single most valuable piece of real estate in Golarion. Oh, okay. The gallows are already built for them. The rope's been bought. But sometimes life takes a surprising turn. Suddenly, a Paladin of Iomade appears in the doorway and offers the murderers a deal. If they go with her to fight some monsters, they live. If they survive, that is. There's a big difference between imminent death and probable death with the glimmer of hope, wouldn't you say? So here we are travelling through the desert, me and my friend, a priestess of Sarenrae, along with the little ratfolk fellow who'd asked for our help and the 2 cutthroats. We get to the ratfolk village and saw their bodies lying around, all drained dry. We figured we'd have to fight vampires, and that's how the little ratfolk described the monsters who attacked the village. That's why we went in all brazen-like. The sun was high and the vampires couldn't attack until dusk. But we never got the chance to look around. Black shadows, quick as the wind, attacked us from all sides. Not vampires, but Chupacabras. One of the lads we pulled from the gallows got killed right away. The second one ran for his life. That left me, the ratfolk, and Kira. That was the name of the priestess. And we all steeled ourselves for the fight of our lives. And just when we thought the end had come, with the Chukabras surrounding me like a pack of dogs around a bear, and our ratfolk friend wounded and down, and the teeth of the quickest of those blasted monsters was clenched on Kira's shoulders. Right then, when all hope was lost, the other lad from the gallows suddenly comes running back. He kills the beast attacking Kira. I'm sure you know what a turning point in a fight looks like. Well, this was it. A moment before we were lost, and a moment later we had it back under control. The Chupacabras dropped dead, one by one. The little ratfolk is reunited with his family, who were hiding in the basement. The priestess and I closed the eyes of the boy from the gallows who saved us. It was a shame he didn't survive the fight. May the gods keep his soul in its journey through the afterlife. Okay. Yeah. That's a good story. He could have died a disgrace on the gallows, but instead he died a hero. And I'd fancy the stunt earned him some points at his final judgment. It's smart to remember our journey doesn't end in death. Had it not been for that mercy, Milos, that was his name, would be hanging from a noose, and me, Kira, and all the ratfolk would be dead in that village. Someone told me that a kind deed done by an unkind person is 100 times more precious. By the same token, an evil deed done by a noble soul is 100 times more horrifying. That's what I really wanted to say. The Chupacabras were just a good starting point. Interesting. And I'm always taking it when they tell one of these stories at the start as like, where might their story go? And this bit right here, an evil done by a noble soul is 100 times more horrifying. I'm thinking, maybe Seela is going to do something that we're not going to be too happy with. I'm just keeping it in the back of my mind. Anyway, what made you become a paladin of Iomedae? Seela's gaze sharpens momentarily, then she sighs. That's a serious question and a good one. You should ask it of your companions, but it's a long story. To start with, 12 years ago, I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of Solku with the other homeless orphans. I stole. I fought. I was a hired sword for a bit. Not the proper origin for a paladin, is it? Oh, so if she joined when she was 14, that'd make her 26, mid-20s. Okay, pretty much got it. Back then, Solku was a city of orphans, widows and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People there heard about new deaths before they'd finished mourning their previous losses. One day, a group of knights of Iomedae brought a glimmer of hope to the city, but while others saw them as saviors and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armor, wondering just how much one of their pretty swords would fetch. Haha. A thief lives one day at a time, that's what they say. I was the type that never thought past the next job. Anyhow, I was able to sneak into the knight's camp and steal one of their mithril helms. Seela pauses, her voice sad and measured. And I was right there when a gnoll attacked the helm's owner. Asemi was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. A gnoll like all those she'd fearlessly driven from the gates of Solku. That one blow was fatal, but who really was to blame for her death? The gnoll attacker or the young thief named Seela? Ah, yeah, I can see how that would get into your conscience quite a bit. Anyway, let's see what we're gonna say. I think we say even a seemingly small misdeed can have terrible consequences. Yes, you're right 1,000 times over. I hate to say it, but I just didn't see it back then. And if I had never got that lesson, my eyes would probably never have been opened. Who knows what would have happened to me if it wasn't for Asemi and her bravery. And her death? Why is this something we can hover over? Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. It's just a recap of what happened. I guess her name might come up again at some point. Anyway. Maybe the world would know Seela as a bandit, not a knight and protector of those in need. There's a saying I like to remember. People rarely find redemption on their own. Someone must show them the way. But you are asking what brought me into the ranks of Iomedae's warriors. We all choose the paladin's path for our own reasons. Some are guided by nobility of spirit, some by a desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and a debt unpaid. The day Asemi died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt. Then I realized it wouldn't make the world any better, and I decided that instead I'd try to take her place. I'd become who she had been, and protect the innocents that she would no longer be able to protect. I see, so that's kind of formed her personality there. What are the principles that paladins of Iomedae follow? Seela smiles. I'll tell you, I like to recite her code. It feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There is strength in these words. After a pause she begins, her voice slow and meditative. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it, it is worthless. My strength is not in my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I have lost a tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. I will have faith in the inheritor. I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will. I will not surrender those under my command. I will never abandon a companion, though I will honor sacrifice freely given. I will guard the honor of my fellows, both thought and deed, and I will have faith in them. When in doubt, I may force my enemies to surrender, but I am responsible for their lives. I will never refuse a challenge from an equal. I will give honor to worthy enemies and contempt to the rest. I will suffer death before dishonor. I will become temperate in my actions and moderate in my behavior. I will strive to emulate Iomede's perfection. Okay, so they're very, very, very into the honor here. So again, I'm seeing potential bits like conflict in here where potentially, you know, she might have to make a choice between two of these things in her, like in her, I was trying to see the word it used, in her code, right? There might be two conflicting things that come up. Like maybe she will have to do something to break the code in order to, you know, save somebody else, and then it's going to cause an issue. Anyway, I just like to theorize where things are going to go with these sort of stuff. Anyway, when Deskari attacked Canabris, everything seemed to be lost. But the first person I met after the catastrophe was you, my sister in faith. I believe this is a sign that Iomade watches over us. I love this. Okay, because we have the same religion. It's given us an extra bit of dialogue. That's cool. I hope that's true. Although, to be honest, our mentors used to warn us against being too eager to see messages from the goddess in every little thing. Being devout is all well and good, but you've got to rely on your own head. Well, thank you. I've learned everything I wanted to know. I hope I didn't bore you. Ask me something else if you'd like. No, I think we're good. Yeah. See ya. Right, and now we can level her up to a level 3 paladin. So what does a paladin get at level 3? We get Aura of Courage. So, at 3rd level, a paladin is immune to fear, magical or otherwise. Each ally within 10 feet of her gains a +4 morale bonus on saving throws against fear effects. That is very good. I like that a lot. Okay, so our tank will never run away. Good start. Divine Health. At 3rd level, a paladin is immune to all diseases, including supernatural and magical diseases, including mummy rot. Oh, again, like really good. She's just not gonna get disease. So right now, our paladin is going to be an unmovable force at the front of our party. Mercy. At 3rd level and every 3 levels thereafter, a paladin can select 1 mercy. Each mercy adds an effect to the paladin's Lay on Hands ability. Whenever the paladin uses Lay on Hands to heal damage to one target, the target also receives the additional effects from all of the mercies possessed by the paladin. Cool. Okay. Well, that all seems amazing. Yeah, let's go with that. So right now, what are we using her for? We don't need to put anything into trickery or stealth, because that's just not what we're using her for. I mean, we could in theory put it into trickery and the assumption that Camellia might not be in our party, but that seems a little bit, yeah, early to make assumptions like that. Also, we know nothing about Camellia. That's basically what I'm saying. It's because we know nothing about her. She might not be in our party long term, but she might also be an absolutely major character. Who knows? We know nothing. But either way, we have somebody who can do trickery with us, and then, you know, we have somebody who's currently got a +10 to it. So that seems good. Stealth? Definitely no. Knowledge Arcana? Not really her thing. Neither is Knowledge World, nor Lower Nature, nor Lore Religion. I think she might be our Persuasion bot. Yeah. Let's push up Persuade on her. Yeah. That seems like the main thing that she's doing. Although use magical device could be useful. You know what? I might take a single point in there, because I think that means we're now trained. So that might mean that we can use magical devices at all, which might be useful. Although she did use a scroll, didn't she? So maybe that means that +1... yeah, maybe that means that she can already use magic devices. Anyway, I might push it up again anyway. That's fine. Right. Feet. So, we can give her a weapon focus, but I quite like her being able to switch to whatever is good. Armor focus. We give her a heavy armor focus to get her a +1 to AC. What else have we got in here? Deft Hands. No. We could give her Deceitful, which would allow her Persuasion to get a bonus, but I don't think that's really what we're after. She's not our athletics check person. Exotic weapons proficiency would allow her to use a lot of different things, potentially. Okay. Potentially. Extra Lay on Hands. We can use it an additional 2 additional times per day. Okay. You can gain an extra lay on hands multiple times its effect stack, so we could just keep taking that if we wanted to. You gain 1 additional skill point per level. Okay, not really what we need for her, but that might be a good thing for someone else. Although it's only for humans, so we don't have that many options there. Great Fortitude? No. History of Terrors. Plus 2 racial bonus on saving throws to resist mine-affecting effects. And a bonus increased if it's a fear effect. Just really not that good for her because we're immune to fear. Improved Initiative could be cool. Intimidating Prowess. Add your Strength modifier to your Persuasion skill in addition to your Charisma. What's her... She must have Strength, right? Yeah, I think she has a Strength modifier that's good, so that could be good. It's only when used to Intimidate, though. Will saving throws, reflex saving throws, Metamagic, Missile Shield. Must be using a shield to use this feat. Once per round, when you would normally be hit with an attack from a ranged weapon, not a spell effect, natural attacks, or massive ranged attacks, you may deflect it, so you take no damage as if you had the deflect arrows feat. You must be aware of the attack and not flat-footed. Wait, once per round, if you be hit from an attack with a ranged weapon, you can just ignore it? That's huge. I think that's really good, right? That seems really, really good. It's just, if we're facing an archer, it shoots at her. Most of the time it's going to miss anyway, and then if it hits, we can negate it. That's a high choice for me right now. I like it. We could take something like Shield Wall. Now, Shield Wall would be good because we have a lot of people currently who are using shields, and if we give them Shield Wall, then we can get a bonus, but it would do nothing this level. Toughness gives her more health. Tower Shield proficiency. She becomes proficient with Tower Shields. I mean, I don't have one I want to use right now. I quite like Missile Shield. Yeah, I think this is really good. Yeah, I think that's a really good one, and it's prerequisite for Ray Shield. You add your shield bonus to your touch AC. Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. Let's go. And then we get Mercy. So Fatigued. We can make a target no longer fatigued with lay on hands. Make them no longer shaken or no longer sickened. Fatigue is most likely going to be the one that comes up most often, I would think. Shaken, I don't really know. We haven't run into anyone who does that or sickened, like, as a common thing. So where are these ones? These ones are just locked to levels? Okay. But you can remove all sorts of things, right? Yeah, like stunned, dazed, poisoned. Okay, there's some cool stuff there. Cursed. I think fatigued is probably going to show up the most out of those ones. Yeah, let's go with that. Awesome. So Sela is now leveled up. What's her HP, by the way? 31. She does have a +4 strength, so if we wanted to do intimidating things, we could probably do it with her. Yeah. Okay. Just seeing what we're at to. Oh, she still has the +1 from our light thing. She never took damage afterwards. Cool. Right. Let's head over here. Speak to Iribeth. Iribeth rubs her red and tired eyes. Any success? How is the city? What's our main objective? You heard what that demon said. They're going to desecrate the Wardstone and blow up the whole barrier around the Worldwound. It'd be an even worse disaster than the Worldwound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabris, but every city with a Wardstone will be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that. No matter what, we will retake it. Even destroy it if we must. Iomede's gift must not become a weapon of the Abyss. What are the Wardstones? They are our greatest treasure, the shield given to us by Iomede herself, and placed in Canabris and other Mendevian cities and fortresses by her herald. The chain of Wardstones forms a protective barrier that stops the expansion of the Worldwound and keeps demons from moving beyond its borders. I shudder to think what will happen if that barrier falls. Tell me about the Eagle Watch. It was a small order created to fight not only demons, but also the enemy within, to maintain the purity of the Paladin ranks, prevent heresy, and identify spies, and it failed miserably at that. The Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth infiltrated it and formed their nest within its ranks. Pledging their lives to Baphomet, these cultists scheme and subvert the good works of the Crusaders. They cause trouble in Crusader camps, instigating fights and egging participants on to greater violence. They spread lies and sow the seeds of fear with voices sweetened by magic. Some have even assumed the roles of holy crusaders and risen in the ranks of other knightly orders, waiting for the moment when their treachery can be used to achieve a most foul end. Ah, so that was the people who were downstairs. Got it. After the Queen entrusted me with leading the order, Evie and I practically built it from scratch. We got rid of dead weight, people who weren't committed. We organized ways to transmit messages and orders safely. We introduced reliable ciphers. We found tacit allies around the city, from Crusader orders to street beggars. This was my personal crusade, to purge the city of the Templars who had infested it. And I thought I was winning. I could feel it. We were so close to driving the cultists out of Canabris, but... Iribeth frowned. It's hard to admit, but those successes didn't count for much once the demons entered the city. Well, let's see what we want to say to this. I don't think I want to say two. I don't want to be all like, we're just gonna fight. Success, when we got up to the surface, there were more cultists in the city than Crusaders. What was your order doing? I think we just try and, give a little bit of confidence. On the contrary, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be a headquarters at the Defender's heart. The cultists would have served up the city on a platter to the demons. The lines on Iribeth's forehead softened. Yes, that's true. It's a good thing we achieved something. Thank you. Allow me to ask a few personal questions. Frowning a little, Iribeth nods. Please, but I must warn you. There are some things I don't have the right to discuss. I don't have the right to discuss? That's an interesting way of phrasing it. Where are you from? I was born in Canabris. I grew up on a farm just outside it. But my way back home lay at the end of a long and winding road. It took me years of traveling through foreign lands before I came to be where I've always belonged. How did you become a paladin? A bitter smile appears on the half-orc's face. I don't much like to remember it. Believe it or not, the story of how I became a paladin is also the story of how I failed to become a knight. My parents were crusaders. May their souls stand together in Iomede's celestial army. When I was born, they retired from the war and started preparing me to continue their legacy. But my father was an orc. You'd be pressed to find a calmer, wiser, more pious servant of the goddess than he. But still, all his life, he was dogged by sideways looks and whispers. When I grew older, and it was time for me to serve, I decided anywhere but Canabris. That was where my father had served loyally. His only reward had been injustice. Besides, the witch hunters, led by the honourable prelate Hulrun, stalked the city with a heavy hand. We got stalked highlighted here? Mendevian witch hunts. During the First Crusade, the holy warriors steamed into Mendev, where they encountered Sarkorians practicing their unique druidic faith. The Crusaders mistook the wooden idols and rustic rituals for evidence of demonic influence. Groups of witch hunters emerged from the disorganized chaos of the First Crusade. These witch hunters were often self-styled, their tactics little more than brutal trial and error. The least bit of evidence could mark a target for investigation. A club foot, a thick accent, or even a suspicious absence of abnormalities. So, if you have no abnormalities, you are in and of yourself abnormal. Okay, bit weird. The witch hunters, I mean, it's not weird, it obviously makes sense as they were just looking for people, but, the logic doesn't hold together, which kind of makes sense for witch hunts. The witch hunter groups gained reputations for being cruel and arbitrary. Although these weren't always deserved. Demons ranged freely across the Worldwound, and often spilled into Mendev. Demonic possession did happen, though, not nearly as often as the witch hunters claimed. Genuine witch hunters used divination magic and cautious investigation to draw out and destroy fiends, but they were rare compared to the zealous inquisitors who burned innocents at the stake. With the advent of the Fourth Crusade, the authorities took strong measures to end the bloody witch hunts of Mendev. Since then, the frequency of the hunts has dropped considerably. Ah, and this was led by Hulrun, who is the person who's currently in charge of this city. Well, I don't know if anybody knows where Hulrun is, but he would be in charge of the city and was before the demon attack. So I can see why Iribeth might have wanted to get out of town if they were basically just going for anybody they didn't like and, you know, I would assume with a witch hunt burning them. Yeah, probably good to leave town. Who knows what they'd have done to a strange girl with green skin. Instead I went to a smirk that looks more like a painful grimace crosses her face. You can laugh if you want, but I was young and foolish. I chose Last Wall of all places. You can imagine how well I was accepted into a country that's been battling the orcs of Belkzen since its foundation. Hold of Belkzen. While orcs can be found throughout Golarion, nowhere else are they as plentiful or live in as densely populated settlements as in the hold of Belkzen. Belkzen is an unfortunate wasteland filled with shrub brush, steep mountains and uneven badlands, where water is scarce and generally limited to the seasonal flood road. Okay, so she went to a bunch of people who've been fighting off orcs to fight with them. Yeah, that would be a bit odd. There were many there like me, but we were all treated as second-class citizens. To the locals, my green skin was worse than leper scabs. Even my brothers in faith kept their distance. I took my vows, and the goddess granted me the powers of a paladin. But even then, not a single order would accept me into their ranks. I spent another 6 months knocking on doors before I realized a simple truth. I serve Iomade, not these people. I don't have to prostrate myself before them. So I left as a paladin, but not a knight. Elves are often looked on with suspicion in human countries, but even more so in dwarven countries. But half-orcs don't have any nation where they can feel truly accepted. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Also, I like it. It's taking into account our background. That's a nice little neat thing. So how did you come to join the Knightly Order? I left Lastwall and went travelling. The goddess guided me, and my path led me to where atrocities were happening. I often fought in exchange for gold, but never for unworthy aims, of course. I wandered the River Kingdoms for a few years, killing monsters and tracking down criminals. Sometimes I thought I was just wasting time, that my true place was in Canabras. But I pushed those thoughts away. I didn't even want to think about going back. But in the end, divine providence has brought me to my senses. It happened in Timon. I was tracking a gang of bandits, which my employer suspected was a cover for Rasmirian spies. I managed to find their lair, but inside I found something far more dangerous than spies. An unholy temple to Zon Kuthon. Ah, this is the other side of Anevia's story. When I broke in there, the cultists were about to sacrifice someone. The person who was destined to become my wife, Anevia. But that's another story. After I cut down the cultist, I examined their papers and couldn't believe my eyes. A network of evil cults had spread through all of Avistan, including Mendev. Worse, the documents clearly showed that their allies, the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth, had infested my native Canabras, and were even among the ranks of the Paladins. After that, delaying my homecoming would be tantamount to desertion. Luckily, I was no longer alone. Anevia was as eager to destroy the cultists as I was. Anevia and I hurried to Canabras. We couldn't trust anyone. The papers indicated that the cultists had infiltrated everything. Luckily, I had some experience in investigating, and my beloved, the half-orc, smiles warmly. She knew her way around working locks, tailing people, and trading information with the city's bottom feeders. Soon we defeated, alas, not the whole Hydra, but a few of its heads. Do you know who turned out to be the leader of the cultists? The commander of the Eagle Watch. Oh, okay. Can you imagine, while Prelate Hulrun was chasing witches through the city, the enemy had infiltrated the very order responsible for internal security. The scandal reached the ears of the Queen. At first she planned to disband the order in disgrace. Then she offered its command to me, and put its salvation in my hands. Of course, there was one small catch. I wasn't a knight, but I was made commander just the same, skipping the usual progression through the ranks. Ah, okay. So she wasn't a knight, but She has become honorary, kind of like an honorary knight, and is now in charge of the knights. Okay. We passed our lore religion check. I can't imagine the followers of Zon Kuthon in alliance with demon worshippers. Shouldn't they hate each other? They should, but Baphomet's minions are masters of deception. They manipulate Zon Kuthon's butchers as eagerly as Iomede's knights. The cultists from that unholy temple didn't know the true face of their associates in Canabris. We ourselves learned the truth much later, after getting to the bottom of their nest. I like the one experience point. It's like, well done, you passed the check, have a single penny. Anyway, how did the people of Canabris feel about your background? They tolerated it surprisingly well. I shouldn't have been so wary. Crusaders don't tend to be prejudiced, as a rule. After all, heroes from all over the world, even from other continents, come here to fight the demons. Apparently the people were only suspicious of full-blooded orcs. There were already many like me here, and we don't have any problems. Though the locals do have their superstitions. Mendev is as merciless as Lastwall. They just have a different set of victims. Okay, I guess if you've got demons constantly attacking you, anybody who's willing to go and fight them kind of goes up and, you know, you kind of ignore where they're from and are just like, you know what, you'll do. Right. I kept seeing those same sideways looks and scowls, hearing the familiar whispers, but where once they used to whisper behind my back and point at me, now whisper in my ear and point at someone else. It's so strange to be on the other side of humiliation. To wipe the spit from your face and suddenly be invited to change position and spit at someone else. You must have figured out by now that I'm talking about Tieflings. Ooh, okay. I guess because they're part demon, they would be the natural fit, right? Or are they part demon? Or I can't quite remember exactly how Tieflings are. I think they're. It was described as when they were described underground by Wendog. It was like those who have consorted with demons rather than the Crusaders who were just, you know, the pure and virtuous ones who had had some corruption from just being near them. The other ones had deliberately gone out of their way. Anyway, so yeah, Tieflings are demonic, so it would make sense. It's kind of it's similar to her last wall example where she was a half-orc and there were a bunch of orcs attacking. They are part demon and there's a bunch of demons attacking. It's not a good look. Anyway. It's true there are many of them among the cultists, and few among our crusaders, and our fighters do all they can to drive away those who would be our allies. People shun them, call them Areelu's spawn or worse, as if they choose to be born like that. I believe it's quite a feat to rise against the call of one's blood, and join the forces of good. Still, most only see them as the enemy. I once saw a knight bleeding to death because he wouldn't let a tiefling priest touch his wound. Alas, I haven't been able to change this in all my time in Canabris. That could be cool, playing as a tiefling in this game and seeing the differences, because quite clearly, there's like some stuff for elves, but, you know, people are generally like, I might not like elves, but, you know, they're okay. But if you're a tiefling, I could seriously see a lot of dialogue of people going, I'm not sure I should trust you. You do know you're a tiefling, right? It could lead to some interesting dialogue. Anyway. Tell me about Anevia. We met in Timon as I was wandering aimlessly from one ordeal to another. We returned to Canabris together to explore the Templars, or to expose the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth. The day the Queen knighted me was the second happiest day of my life. The first was the day of our wedding. But Anevia isn't just my beloved. She's my staunchest ally. We share every victory and defeat. The best of me is alive thanks to her. Thank you for saving her back then, the day Canabris fell. Before her return, the only thing giving me the strength to protect the defender's heart was the hope I'd see her again. We're in your debt. Thank you for your answers. I have to go. Go. May Omade keep you safe. Okay, cool. Who is this guy? Just looking at him here. Has he got an eye patch? I'm trying to get the right view there. Kinda. Does he have an eye patch on? Anyway. A pirate? Oh, no eye patch. Well, there you go. It's just a shadow. But he does have an actual picture. A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely grey and shorn close to his head in a military style. He is lean and well-groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eye. Monocle! So that's what it is. Anyway. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that here is a man who is always ready to be on the move. Greetings, I'm Hilor, venture captain of the Pathfinder Society. Oh, so is this the guy who lets us hire extra companions? I'm the superior officer among Pathfinders in the region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone, without the support of the Society. I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. Tell me about your confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares. Also, what have we got about Pathfinders? The Pathfinder Society is a globe-spanning organization based in Absalom. The membership consists primarily of Pathfinders, adventurers who travel throughout Golarion, usually inconspicuously, to explore, delve, and otherwise experience the lesser-seen parts of the world. They send journals documenting their travels back to their venture captains, who assign them new missions and suggest new places to explore. So, that would be a DM? Are they DMs in Pathfinder, or GM? Anyway, basically the person running the game, I would assume. Or, I guess, if they're suggesting new places to explore, it might be, it might be, Paizo? The people who make Pathfinder? Anyway, I'm assuming that's their in-game version of themselves. The most exciting and illuminating of these journals are compiled in the Pathfinder Chronicles, an ongoing series of books that collect the history and mystery of Golarion for its membership and the general public. Alright, tell me about the Spinner of Nightmares. It all began with a task of the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in Nerosian with my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron Falron. We soon focused in on a small hospital for the wealthy, where Falron was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet's cultists, calling themselves the Labyrinth of the Mind, had gotten a foothold at the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless, and when they returned, they were different. Almost normal. But the moment that they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet, ready to lie, betray, even kill. The Labyrinth of Mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles in Mendev, but Baron Falron stopped them. He was too loyal to his oath and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. Their den was a cradle of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other, and their loathsome fantasies stepped real from their minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible and forbidden things. They fought like mad. We burned the place to the ground and slaughtered everyone we could, but the leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. They abducted my daughter, Lowry, who served under my command in the Pathfinder Society. They left me a note full of tart insults, mockery, and sneers. From that note I learned the name of my enemy, the Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Mind. My hunt had begun. I would get Lowry back at any cost. Hilor grits his teeth with bulldog determination. Okay, I'm assuming maybe we get more of this story later, because there's nothing more I can ask right now. Okay. Well, what happens if I say I need good training? Yeah, that's an interesting one. I will get a great mentor from Absalom. For the first few times, he'll train your fighters free of charge. Oh, it's retrain! Oh, so we can retrain our stats. Okay, no. That's cool to know. Or retrain our characters into different paths. Like, if we decide we want to be, like we want to change a feat or something, we can do that there. Cool. I want to know more about you. What exactly are you interested in? I am a common Pathfinder. There are many others like me. Fate and my order brought me to this land. How did you end up here? I was working on an assignment for the Pathfinder Society, and then a demon worshipper named the Spinner of Nightmares abducted my sitter. I mixed two words together. The Spinner of Nightmares abducted my daughter, Lori, For the past 3 years, I've been trying to save her. During this time, I've become a specialist in scouting demon territory. I've even planted agents among the cultists. Truth be told, in pursuing the Spinner of Nightmares, I've been acting more on behalf of Queen Galfrey than the Pathfinder Society. It's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you the rest of it sometime. The Spinner of Nightmares is a true spawn of the Abyss. I've fought her many times, but I've never been able to seize her by the throat. Tell me about your daughter. Hilor smiles, showing his healthy white teeth. As a girl, Luri was just an angel. We lost her mother early on. She was left to follow my example, a drifter with little idea how to talk to a 10-year-old girl. But even with such questionable parenting, Luri managed to grow into a wonderful girl. Brave, smart, beautiful, and entirely unbearable. She's always argued with me about everything. When Lowry was 18 and told me she was going to be a Pathfinder, all I said was, alright. I knew there was no use to try to talk her out of it. And she was a fine Pathfinder. Hiller's fists clench with a painful sounding crack. I'll never forgive this Spinner of Nightmares for taking my girl from me. Tell me about the Pathfinder Society. The Pathfinder Society is a global organization that unites opportunists and adventurers of all kinds. We explore the world and uncover its secrets, travel, and sometimes face down threats. In times of trouble, the latter becomes our primary focus. We're driven by curiosity and the desire to make the world a better place. And of course, some seek profit or hunger for glory. But in any case, it's hard work. They might send you anywhere on a mission. Weaklings have little place in the society. It's more for seasoned fighters. There are society lodges in many cities. The closest one is in Neroshan. They're each led by venture captains, lads like me. The Grand Lodge is in Absalom, the center of the world. The Decemvirate sits there, the anonymous council of our leaders. Alright, I have no more questions. See ya! We could hire some people, but I'm not going to. Right. We'll leave him be. Who have we got over here? Is it just those two? I think those two might be the last two to speak to. Yes, I believe that is the case. Hello, who are you? Visal? I'm not sure how to do the IY, so it'd be Visali Rathimus. A stout old man with a fuzzy grey beard mumbles a prayer. He looks as tired as everyone else in the tavern, but determination is stamped upon his haggard face. What can I do for you? He's our scroll seller. Who are you? Visali Rathimus, rector of the local temple of Abadar. The temple is gone though, and if we snooze here for much longer, the city will be lost as well. Who's that boy with you? This one. Kayado the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy, and his faith is strong. He serves Aristil though, but there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. What kind of help can I expect from you? First, I sell scrolls. I have a lot of them. Something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you. Guaranteed, no surprises. But you better not go into the city without a cleric. I won't be going there myself, I'm too old. My powers are needed here. Alright, show me what you're selling. So what does he sell? He sells everything by the looks of it. Oh, he also sells some things that can be used to cast spells. Ooh, what have we got here? Lesser Extend Metamagic Rod. This rod grants the wielder the ability to make up to 3 spells they cast per day extended as though using the Extend spell feat. Oh, cool. That's pretty good. Yeah. We don't have money for it. Amulet of Natural Armor, Ring of Protection, Braces of the Wizard. They give an armor bonus of +2, just as though they were wearing armor, so that won't stack with armor. And a +3 competency bonus on all knowledge arcana checks. Well, they would be great for us, however, we wear armor, so right now not a thing for us. Then basically just a ton of scrolls. Ooh, Alchemist Kit, what are these? Allows you to create a 1 level spell. This kit allows you to create potions of 1 level spells. We could take it, and the Scroll Scriber Kit. We might as well buy these, right? It looks like you're meant to buy like each level of them. So, I mean, I think this gives us the ability when we camp to start crafting our own stuff, which is kind of cool. Also, we got Scroll of Wand of Ray of Frost. Does Ray of Frost, which is 1d3 points of cold damage. Alright. I mean, that's not really that exciting, to be honest with you. We have that as a... I was going to say cantrip. I'm not sure what they are for shaman. 0 level spell. That'll probably be a better way of putting it. Wand of Reduced Person. Okay. What else have we got in here? Wand of Enlarge, Wand of Shocking Grasp, bunch more scrolls, Wand of Stone Fist, Wand of Molten Orb. Okay, we don't need to buy any of this, but if we ever do need any of this, it'd be good. Oh, actually, there's one thing I want to check. Is there a way of searching this? Name A to Z? Is there a Scroll of Resurrection? That's Restoration. Not quite what I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm seeing... There's probably a name for it that I don't know. But yeah, I'm sure that I bought scrolls in Kingmaker, and like I was continually buying scrolls. I don't know if they were for resing. They might have been the restoration scrolls now that I'm looking at it. But there was something in the back of my mind. I was like, there's a scroll you should buy. I've got the muscle memory for it, but I can't see what it is. Yeah. I guess we'll just deal with it if we need it. Like, if we need to deal with it. Bulk selling? Cool. Deal. Right, let's speak to Kayado. I believe that help is already on the way. The Queen will not leave us to die. Okay, and now we've spoken to everyone. We do, however, have a book to read. Somewhere. Where is the book? Did I ever read this? Yes, I did. Is that the book? That's the book. Hilor and the Spinner of Nightmares. Oh, right, so that's the thing that we were just talking about. Book of the first of the astounding exploits of the venture captain Hilor, published by the Pathfinder Society. The Spinner of Nightmares lets out a fiendish laugh, and the wind rose up, sending the sound rippling across the roof of the cavernous temple and off into the darkening sky. You cannot protect them, the demon worshipper performed a graceful pirouette, as if she were mocking the ungainly venture captain, who was slowly picking his way across the slippery roof tiles. You may have saved Anthoclitus today, but you won't save everyone who gets in my way. I will always be one step ahead, plunging a dagger into the heart of the next fool and sullying your path with blood that you will never be able to wipe clean. Hilor lost his footing once again, and only by a miracle did he not go plummeting to his death. His heart threatened to beat right out of his chest, but his mind was consumed with a feverish awareness of how close he was to his target. Only a few dozen paces separated him from the Spinner of Nightmares, close enough to shoot, but the venture captain wanted to be sure the bolt wouldn't kill her, merely maim and immobilize her. The hand crossbow that Hilor concealed under the folds of his cloak was throwing off its balance. The jig's up, Spinner of Nightmares, the venture captain leaned forward as though trying to catch his breath, a diversionary tactic designed to weaken the vigilance of the villain, who seemed to be waiting for something on the peak of the roof. You have one chance to save your pathetic life. Surrender now. The Spinner of Nightmares froze, as if considering the captain's words before lunging forward like a snake, spitting with contempt. You will never see her again. Click, twang, the whistle of the bolt released from its cradle, and the swish of the Spinner of Nightmares' cloak as she dodged the shot, laughing. Hilor let out a bellow, pouring all of his hatred and despair into the shout, dashing forward and slipping on the roof, tumbled to his knees. Gripping a jagged roof tile with his last remaining strength, the venture captain swallowed a grunt of pain and raised his head, only to watch his daughter's abductor be swept away on a black wind. I will find you, Spinner of Nightmares! Hilor's shout seemed to carry far and wide across the whole of Mendev. I'll find you, and I'll tear out your duplicitous heart. Alright, just a more dramatic telling of what we just heard. Well, before we leave this place, there's one other bit we haven't gone to. I know, one last bit, and then we get out to go outside and fight things. The basement. Okay, so we have this guy who's imprisoned. Woljif. Okay, what else have we got down here? We can go outside from here. Interesting. We'll grab this stuff. Definitely just gonna loot. What's that? That is a lesson in not just randomly pulling levers. I think that's what that is. Surrender thy soul, Delvan. Iomade, protect us. Ahaha, got you again. How many times is that today? Take your jokes and shove 'em, Tiefling. Oh, it's a Tiefling. Whoa, easy there, Chief. Don't hit me. Ah, so they just imprisoned the Tiefling like we were told that might happen. Or we were told that there was prejudice against them. Okay. Interesting. Grab the loot. Continue looting. What have we got? Light hammer, chainmail. Well, I'll grab it and sell it. Why not? Yeah, grab it. Loot. Yep. Hello. Go ahead. Don't take too long, though.
Hey, Chief! Ooh, hey, gorgeous. Come over here. I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
New party member? The young tiefling sits cross-legged on the floor. He looks relatively calm for someone in shackles, but his tail whips back and forth in agitation. Noticing your attention, the tiefling sits up and beckons you over.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out!
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap.
Who are you?
Woljif. Woljif Jefto. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem.
The tiefling rattles his chains and gives you a meaningful look. Why are you in chains?
Does it really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
It kinda does matter, though.
He was caught thieving.
Uh-huh. Your shadow. What was that?
Get me out of here and I'll tell you. And don't worry, it's not contagious.
If you want something from me, Woljif, you're gonna have to give me a little bit more, you know? Like, some reason, like any reason at all. Apart from just being, like, quite obviously somebody who we can work with. What do you want from me?
I'll lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations? No problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
Well, it's good pitch.
What a load of guff! If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Canabras.
I can't help you while you're chained up in here. How can I free you?
That's easy. You know Iribeth? Feisty-looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy, Woljif, locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. You got that? Will you do it?
Okay. I'll talk to Iribeth about your situation. We haven't said that we'll release him, but we'll talk to Iribeth.
I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
We'll talk later. I'm worried that he knows that I'm an easy mark. Also, no idea what this... There's 2 levers here. Interesting. I wonder what they do. There's 3 levers. Well, you know. Do you think these do something? Oh, that one moved that one. Okay, maybe I need to get them all to go in the same direction. If I pull it again. Down, down. If I pull this one. They're now all down. Maybe I need to make them all go up. They're all up. Maybe I need to know a code before I can do this. Or you know what I mean? Like some kind of the order I want them in. There's something going on here. I just don't know what's this. The button won't budge. Oh, now I got it. The button won't budge. Okay. This. The button won't budge. Do it again. So I might need to know I might need to know a code. So let's go middle one up. Okay. Middle and right up. Let's just go through all combinations. The button won't budge. Alright. All three up. So all three up is wrong. Let's put them all back down again. So, gone from middle up. Just right up. Okay. Button won't budge. Right and left up? No. What about just left up?
Let us be off.
Try it. We did it! Solve the puzzle. What's in here then? Loot. A helmet? Ooh. What is it? Headband of alluring charisma. +2 bonus to charisma. Ooh, nice. And then a yellowed letter. Well, we can read that. What have we got? Half a century ago, our parents fled their homeland of Sarkoris, terrified of the invading demons. They were certain that the war would soon be over, so they didn't go too far and found a refuge here in Canabris. They used what little savings they had to build a tavern where any crusader could get a bowl of soup and a good night's rest in exchange for some money and news about their recent victories. The city looked completely different back then. It was a triumphant city full of hope, inspiring songs, and brave paladins in shining armor. We praised our lady Pulara openly and hoped that the lands of our ancestors would be ours again in no time. Things have changed since then though. Our parents have left to the goddess's halls. Dresden is long gone. The Worldwound grows deeper every day, and the Crusaders seem to take more interest in fighting each other and us townsfolk than eradicating demons. Hulrun has gone mad and now puts all of his inquisitive zeal into burning witches. Today Canabris is a city of fear and suspicion. We even had to hide our altar of the Shining Maiden in the basement so they wouldn't accuse us of demon worshipping. Oh. Okay. So I wonder whether, if I speak to the bartender, he has anything to say about this. That'd be cool. Oh, also while we're at it, this is quite clearly an item for you. This headpiece. Yeah, this is a +2 enhancement bonus to charisma. I mean, it's just quite clearly yours. You're a paladin. That makes sense. Hello. Nope, nothing. Alright. Fair enough. Right, let's go speak over here to Iribeth. There is a tiefling chained up in the defender's heart. What can you tell me about him? Iribeth shrugs scornfully. Woljeff is a petty thief from a gang of tieflings operating in Canabris. That's what we call them in these parts. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items recently. Unfortunately, we only apprehended one of them, and the rest managed to escape. We have nowhere else to keep him apart from Defender's Heart, but that's hardly a prison. Woljeff knows it too. He's been begging us for days to let him go free or have someone vouch for him. He's already asked you to put in a good word for him, hasn't he? Huh. Iribeth squints at you thoughtfully, then shrugs. If you want to recruit Woljeff and put him to good use, go ahead and take him off our guards' hands. We can ill afford to let a soldier spend their days watching over a middling thief. I hope the Tiefling proves useful should you decide to take him along. Alright, I mean that's fine, I'll take him. No issues at all. New party member? I mean, you barely have to present me with any argument to add them to the party. Let's go. You're free.
Well, Chief, what do you got for me?
I talked to Iribeth, and I've decided to make you part of my troop. We'll see how it goes.
Ha! You must be a smooth talker. Come on, Delvin, get these bracelets of yours off me. I'm going free.
You're sure to regret this. This Tiefling will fleece you for everything you've got. Mark my words.
You're a bitter little man, Delvin. Petty and mean. You can't even be happy for me, can you? I pity you. I'll leave you alone with your sad little soul. So long. And now, Chief, straight down to business. You see, I'm one of those guys that people around here call Thieflings. We just call ourselves the family. After we knocked over that shop and I got stuck here in the Defender's Heart, a little bird told me that Big Sister Charisme wanted to see me. That she had some questions to ask me. You following?
I completely missed that Iribeth said Thieflings, not Tieflings. I completely missed that. Sorry. So that makes sense. Yeah, okay. So I was like, why is she saying that's what we call them here? Wouldn't you call them that everywhere? But no, it's because he's a thief. Okay, got it.
Now, she won't be asking me questions like, Woljif, how'd you manage to get out of this one? Or, Woljif, you're so thin, didn't they feed you? No, something serious has gone down, and I just know they want to try to pin something on me. I can feel it in my tail. So, I knew right away that I couldn't go alone. You turned up just in time, Chief. You don't need to do anything when we get there. Just stand behind me and look mean, and I'll handle the rest. Somehow. Let's go, I'll show you the way.
Awesome. Oh, slowest release in history. Well, I guess he's not really incentivized to release them quickly, given, yeah, given what's going on with them. Right. Let's go see if he's upstairs and we can talk to him. Right. There he is, in the kitchen. Hey, Chief, want to talk? I want to know more about you. How much is more? Are your family Tieflings too? My family, that's an interesting story actually, but I don't want to tell it to just anyone. Mother and father had a bakery. Their life was great, but the gods never blessed them with any children. One day my mother went to the river to wash some clothes and saw a basket floating downstream. Inside the basket was a baby, adorable and chubby and fast asleep. It was yours truly. In my hand was a note, spritzed with expensive perfume that said, "Take care of my little angel." My mother brought me home and she and my father realized right away that I was heaven sent. They raised me as their own. When I turned 15, my mother showed me my baby blanket. It was embroidered with the coat of arms of an unknown kingdom, all in gold thread. Ever since then, I've been looking for my real parents. It's not easy. Traveling takes money. So if you have a few gold coins, I'll pay you back as soon as I find my real family. I give you my word. No, I don't believe a word of that. That doesn't sound very believable. Seriously? Usually everyone just believes everything I say. People love stories like that. You know, a cute baby, a basket, a blanket. What's not to love? They look at me differently, as if I'm worth more just because the sheets I spit up on might have had a fancy coat of arms on them. Woljif laughs bitterly. Haha, if I really was a prince, I wouldn't be sitting around here, I can tell you that much. I'd have already gone to take what was rightfully mine, and I'd have come back with an army, so I could watch the guards and merchants who pushed me around all my life bow and scrape before me. But it's not going to happen. Want to hear the real story? The true story is boring. My family is human, both my father and my mother. They used to live in a village nearby, I forgot the name. When my ma had me, my old man got so mad he almost killed her. Pinned her to the wall and started asking questions, like why his son had horns and a tail. My ma told him that her mother, my grandma, used to fool around with a demon. When he heard this, Daddy Dearest got drunk, trashed the house, then took off. I don't remember any of this, of course. My grandma told me. I was about 3 years old when my mother brought me to Canabris and left me with my grandma. She said to her, "You and your demon have ruined my life, now you handle him." And then she left. I haven't seen her or my dad since. She did leave a blanket though, that part was true, but my grandma burned it because it was infested with lice. It wasn't even good enough to use as a rag. You think after all that my grandmother saw the light, felt rightfully ashamed and kissed my horns? Wish. Woljif grins nastily, his yellow eyes flashing. People used to give her trouble for fooling around with a demon. She wasn't welcome anywhere, so she got angry. Normal kids get bedtime stories, see? But the only tales I got were how my dad was worthless, my mom was a slut, I was a demon spawn that no one cared about. She only kept me so I could help around the house and steal things she needed. So that's the truth. Tell me the real story of your family? Yeah, okay, so that's just the same thing. How did you become a Thiefling? Woljif grins happily. I was already a tiefling, and life made me a thief. I've been in this business since I was a kid. My grandma used to say, if you don't work, you don't eat. And she gave me as an apprentice to Yeager, a tiefling neighbour of ours. He was a cunning old geezer. He knew how to take a purse off of someone's belt, how to cut open bags undetected, even do some magic. I used to climb through basement windows and open doors from the inside while I was still small enough. And when I grew and stopped fitting through the windows, I decided I was done with my education. I repaid my grandma for everything she's done for me, which was absolutely nothing. Why would I feed her if she wasn't bringing me any money? If you don't work, you don't eat. So I took off. I got bored of my teacher too, but when I as much as hinted at leaving, he said I owed him for my education. So I just nodded, and then I joined the Owlbears, the gang that ran our district, and told them that Yeager was working their territory. I don't know what happened to him. I stayed with the Owlbears. Then their leader started giving me the cold shoulder. I did steal from him, but never that much. So I had to rat them out to the guards. Then I joined the Golden Hands. That was a good time, rich pickings. So absolutely no loyalty from this dude. I would have stayed with the Golden Hands, but the Northmen promised me a bigger cut if I told them where the Golden Hands kept their loot. I'm no fool, of course, so I told them. After that, I only had one option, to join the Northmen, and then the family came. At first, no one took them seriously, calling them Thieflings and all that. But I felt it right away. They had power behind them. They had more money. I'm always on the winner's side, Chief. That's why I joined the Thieflings. And right on time, some thugs came from the capital and made the Northmen leave. The ones who survived are in the family now. So he felt like they had power behind them? I wonder if they had some demonic backing. Okay, tell me about the Thieflings. Alright, I won't tell you everything, but I can tell you a little. The Thieflings are Mendevian thieves. The gang was started in Mendev's capital by someone or other, and soon after they spread all over Golarion. They're also called the family. You know why? Because us Tieflings are easy to spot. Wherever we go, guards always hassle us asking, "Are you lost or summon Hornhead?" And usually we say we're visiting family. And they say, "Oh yeah, who?" You give them a name of the local Thiefling who confirms everything, even if he's never seen you before in his life. That's why we're all brothers and sisters. There are rules. Who does what? Who gets what cut? I won't say it's a lot, but they make it worth your while. They'll even heal you if you take an arrow. But the biggest no-no is this: you don't steal from the family. If you don't contribute to the shared pot, you'll get the cold shoulder. You won't be treated like family no more. Then everyone will hear that you've went to visit some relatives who have a farm someplace. My best guess? The farm is in some underground well beneath Canabris, where they breed grave worms. If Sister Charisme or my boss looked the other way more often, I'd really be able to spread my wings. Stealing from someone you call a sister, that's low. Or nobody should live under the constant threat of punishment. You could kill Charisme and take her place. I think we have to say the good option, stealing from someone you call a sister, that's low. Birds fly low before a storm. I'm just surviving the best I can. Woljif fixes you with a look. Imagine the situation, Chief. You're 7 years old. You come home and your own grandma, your family, is lying there drunk. There's no food because she got wasted in the morning and didn't cook anything. And you know that she has a stash under the 3rd floorboard. You take this money so as you don't starve to death. And then when she wakes up, she beats you because you shouldn't have taken it. You should have stolen some food. You're a waste of space. That's something you can never understand, Chief. You only care about moral choices. You always know what's right and what's wrong. Brother, sister, grandma, mother, in real life, they're just words. Okay, interesting. What do you think of Canabris? It used to be such a hole. Then the Crusaders and refugees came here and things started looking up. Although it depends who you ask, I suppose, which is better steer clear of here because Iomede's followers are ferocious, especially Hulrun Shapok, the local inquisitor. He's a tough old goat. I didn't see it myself, but a serving girl at the tavern told me that her second cousin's son from his 3rd wife is a paladin, and she said that Hulrun takes an unsheathed sword with him even to the privy, and when he sleeps he puts it on the pillow next to him. And when he's in his cups, he strokes the blade and whispers sweetly to it, "You're my one true friend. You're the only one I can rely on." He's crazy. He's been demonically influenced. We should burn him. He's a witch. Iribeth's given us a hard time too. you as much as look at some nice little bauble, and before you can think of taking it, before your fingers even twitch, she's coming for you, her nostrils flaring and her fangs glinting. Scary woman. But even she's better than Sister Kresme, our boss here in Canabras. By our, I mean the Thiefling's boss. If you get caught by Iribeth, it's all out in the open. You go to prison or you end up as worm food. But if you step on Kresme's toes, poof, you're gone, just like that. No one ever sees you again. All you hear is, you went to the family farm. Even if he's never had a family or a farm. You have the demon blood in you. Do you feel drawn to the abyss? Odd question, but sure, we'll ask that. Woljif's tail whips back and forth nervously, raising clouds of dust. Hey, Inquisitor, what's it to you? If I've wronged you somehow, just come out and say it. Don't ask me trick questions. I know how it happens. I used to know a fella. He was married to the sister of a guard. Some shady types got him drunk one night and started asking him suspicious questions about the gods, about the queen. So he wakes up hungover, with a headache, someone's mumbling something, it smells like smoke, his feet are kinda hot. He looks down, there's a fire under him, and the prelate is reading out his sentence. Oh, okay. Your shadow looks strange. What kind of magic is it? Ooh, I like how everyone's reacting. Oh, somebody's just straight up running away. Ladies and gentlemen, roll up, no dark magic, no fraud, a trick without any deception. Woljif snaps his fingers and blue flame engulfs him. The shadow that was previously lying calmly at his feet grows, floating in the air behind him. It is the shadow of a huge, horned, winged demon with claws. Ta-da! It doesn't do anything, it just looks scary. I remember when I was little, an old beggar showed me and my friends how to make shadow puppets. You put your fingers together in front of a light, and it makes the shadow of a deer or a dog or a dove on the wall. I tried so hard, I wanted to make the best shadow. And I did! It just happened. Woljif chuckles sadly. Funnily enough, that's the last time I had any real friends. They tried to stone me later, screaming at me, calling me a demon. A tiefling is always a demon to those wimps. Even the lowest ranking drunken gnome thinks he's better than me, just because he hasn't got a horn or a tail. The poorest beggar in the filthiest gutter thinks he's better than me. Most people would never show their shadow again after that first time, but I don't care. If stones start flying again, I'll just run. I'm used to it by now. Okay. Let's see what we're gonna say. Looks formidable. I like it. It's a harmless illusion, but you shouldn't show it to anyone. People hate it. Hate what they don't understand. I don't like it. Demon magic is nothing to be proud of, or it's not the strangest thing I've ever seen. I don't know what we're going to say here. I don't want to say 2, because, yeah, that's kind of like suppressing your own identity kind of thing. He won't like it. I don't like it. Demon magic is nothing to be proud of is also not something I want to say. Yeah. We don't want to be racist to halflings, not halflings, to tieflings. Halflings either, but you know, tieflings specifically, because that's who we're talking to. So I don't know. I'm tempted to do 1, but I'm also tempted to say 4. Let's say 4. It's not the strangest thing I've ever seen. Oh well, and there I was thinking I'd impress you. Woljif sighs, his tail drops, and the shadow and blue fire disappear. Thanks for not dragging me in front of the paladins at least. They already know me. I've been brought before them before. Remember the paladins all standing around and looking inside me for traces of evil? They couldn't find any, so they let me go. Alright, want to ask about something else? I guess I don't, I want to go. Whatever, you're free to do as you please. New party member means... Oh, we don't have to level him up, he's already leveled? Is his XP the same? It is, okay. So what is our tiefling friend? Also, he starts with dual masterwork daggers and a bunch of spell scrolls. He wears bracelets of armor too. What is he? I'm assuming a rogue. Anyway, no honor among thieves. As descendants of demons, tieflings are not the most respected or trusted of Mendev citizens, to put it mildly. However, a few minutes in conversation with Woljif is enough to see that isn't prejudice working against this particular tiefling. It is his puddle-deep personality, his membership of one of Mendev's biggest thief gangs, and his chronic inability to stick to anything, even his own principles. Woljif sees Naminde purely as a convenient way to solve a few of his problems, at least for now. Stealth, trickery, and perception are huge on him. But what is he? He's a rogue eldritch scoundrel. A what now? So, he's a tiefling. Yeah, so he gets bonuses to dex and intelligence. What's that say once per day? They can use the resist energy spell once per day. Okay. He has 2 weapon fighting. So your penalties on attack rolls for fighting with 2 weapons are reduced. The penalty for primary hand lessens by 2 and the one for your offhand lessens by 6. Normal. If you wield a second weapon in your offhand, you can get 1 extra attack per round with that weapon. When fighting this way, you suffer a -6 penalty with your regular attack, or attacks with your primary hand, and a -10 penalty to attack with your offhand. If your offhand weapon is light, the penalties are reduced by 2 each. An unarmed strike is always considered light. So, he would be starting with a -4, -8 penalty, but instead it goes to a -2, -2 penalty on each attack. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah. He's a pickpocket, so he's got trickery and stealth to a list of class skills and a +2 bonus on initiative rolls. Nice. He follows Calestria. Okay. The one who's held in high regard by elves for her mercurial moods and changeable nature. Makes sense given that he has no loyalty and he changes regularly. If I hover here, does it say anything? Okay, students of arcane magic, legerdemain, and stealth, eldritch scoundrels are a rare breed of adventurers most commonly found seeking lost and valuable arcane writings in the ruins of fallen empires. Okay, interesting that we've got him as a thief in Canabris. Weapon finesse. With a light weapon, elven curveblade, S-stock, or rapier made for a creature of your size category, you may use your dex instead of strength modifier on attack rolls. Great. Rogue adds half of her level on perception checks. Okay. Cantrips. So, eldritch scoundrels get cantrips at level 0, or get a bunch of level 0 spells. Yeah, kind of cool. Rogues are proficient with all simple weapons, plus the hand crossbow, rapier, short sword, and short bow. Okay. An eldritch scoundrel is not proficient with any armor or shields. Armor sometimes interferes with eldritch scoundrels' gestures, which can cause their spells with somatic components to fail. Oh, okay. So, no armor. And we have Detect Magic, which is used in dialogue. I believe we also have Detect Magic, right? Yeah. Right. Sneak Attack. If a character can catch an opponent when he is unable to defend himself effectively from their damage, they can strike a vital spot for extra damage. The character's attack deals extra damage anytime their target would be denied a dexterity bonus to AC. Okay, whether the target actually has dexterity bonus or not, when the character flanks their target, this extra damage is a 1d6 and increased by 1d6 at later levels. The additional damage is precision damage is not multiplied on a critical hit. Okay, so I assume that maybe if you're attacking from stealth, that's one of the times when you wouldn't be denied a dexterity bonus to AC. Also, if they're flanked, I think they don't get a dexterity bonus to AC, maybe? Yeah, I think that's it. Could be wrong. And then they can scribe scrolls. Ah, and we have a scroll kit, so that's good. At level 2, they got Weakening Wound. When making a sneak attack against a creature that has damage reduction, the character's attack reduces the damage reduction for 2 rounds by an amount equal to the character level. This penalty to damage reduction does not stack. Okay. But that's a -3. A lot of the damage reduction we'd be seeing is 5, so like that would lower it to 2. That's really useful. Evasion. Character can avoid even magical and unusual attacks with great agility. If the character makes a successful reflex saving throw against an attack that normally deals half damage on a successful save, he takes no damage. Cool. Sneak attack got an extra 1d6. Danger sense. At 3rd level, the rogue gains a +1 bonus on reflex saves to avoid traps and +1 dodge bonus to AC against attacks made by traps. And also finesse training with daggers. Whenever a rogue makes a successful melee attack with a dagger, she adds her dexterity modifier instead of strength modifier to the damage roll as well. Oh, very good stuff. Okay, so I think we see what's going on there. Whoa, we're chaotic neutral. Okay, basically out for themselves and they'll just do what... Yeah, and they're just like, let's go for a little chaos and live in that. Alright, spellbook. So we got Snowball, Magic Missile, Shocking Grasp. Okay, some stuff here I recognize. Grease, Color Spray. Okay. Oh, and we have to memorize spells with this character. Nobody else has to memorize, right? Oh, you have to memorize. Oh. Wait. Yeah, you have to memorize. I should be putting these in your memorized slots. Okay. Also, I could have had all of these spells this whole time? Oh. The spirit slot magic. So the only thing that can go in there is enlarge person. Okay. I might take a bless in there. Yeah, let's put a bless in there for just now. At level 2, the only one we can put in here is bull strength, I believe. Then I don't know. I don't know what we want in here. I'm seeing if we've got anything that's obviously good. Cure moderate wounds is obviously good. I might just put cure moderate wounds in twice. Yeah, I might just put cure moderate wounds in there for just now. You got your level 0 that you can do whatever with. And then these ones. So mage armor, color spray. If they have 2 hit dice or less, they're blinded, stunned, knocked, prone for rounds. 3 hit dice are blinded and stunned. 5 hit dice or more, they're stunned for 1 round. Okay, interesting. Burning Hands is an AoE. Yeah, it's a cone. Yeah, cone attack. Grease knocks people over. And Mage Armor is Mage Armor. Yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. And then we want to find some equipment for you if we've got any. So we don't have any better daggers, do we? No, we only have masterwork daggers, which aren't really going to help you. You can't wear armor. I might give him the natural armor from one of... Do we not have a ring of armor? Oh, we also have this, right? Yeah, with the cold descriptor. Hey, guess what? That's now yours. And actually, what I might do is I might lose Burning Hands for Snowball. Yeah. Oh, I think I can do. I think I just drag on top. There we go. Right. Do that. Where are we? Back to your inventory. So that will now give that a bonus, which is cool. Right. Where else were we? Do we not have a ring of +1 protection? We do. It's currently on us, but it would make a lot more sense to put that on him, given he doesn't wear armor and is melee. Other thing that we might want to do is give him a ranged weapon. Definitely don't want to give darts as a ranged weapon because they're based on strength. A bow would be good. Right, let's go speak to...
Follow me.
Speak to this guy. A short bow is something you can use. Hello. Show me what you have. Sort by name for this time. Short bow. Short bow. Did I not sell you my short bow? I guess I sold them downstairs. Oh well, whatever. Dagger, darts. What else have we got? Light hammer. Yeah, this is fine. I should put all the masterwork stuff if I'm going to keep it in... one of the shields can go. I should put it in our box, right? Because we have a personal box. Yeah, that'll do. Box selling as well, to sell anything else. Do a little resort and type. Cool, that seems good. Right. You don't have any weapons at all? No, okay. Cool. So I either didn't sell it to you or you don't have it anymore. Either way, it doesn't matter. Right, over here. Where was I going? Is our oh wait, our personal box is over here, right? Yeah, there we go. Right, and I want to put all my weapons in here that we're not going to use, and we can re-equip when we get back, basically. Yeah. So anything that I currently don't have a use for immediately can just go in there. Books and things as well. Yeah, they can go in here as just because they're things that we're unlikely to need at a moment's notice. Anything else going in here? Yeah, I don't think so. I think we're fine. Torches are probably okay to keep out, just because they might be useful. Yeah, I think the rest of that's fine. We currently have 0 weight, which seems good. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. We're currently carrying nothing that has any actual weight. Alright, last thing to do. We don't actually have a party, so there's no point looking at our formation. Right. I think what I'm going to do here, I'm just finding a good point, a good angle, is I'm going to end the episode, and then next time we're going to head out with our new party and see what happens. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.